Hello and welcome to Wrestle Opinionated. This is our weekly show all about the great shows of AEW. We are your hosts. I am Morg. This is
just fucking cursed Matt Strange. And this is
Needs no gimmick, Muir the pirate.
the Chucky T reference. I approve.
How have you guys
You
been this
fucking
week?
hero. Yeah, good week up until today, I think. I had to do the Ruth family visit, which happened to come out on the day of the Urtuk update I've been waiting for. So that's
Do you know what I've been doing? Playing
You've
the
been playing the
Urtuk.
Urtuk, you son of a bitch. How dare you? How dare you rub this in my face after the day I've had? And you guys have caught today in a scene-by-scene show. How are you, boys?
I'm all right. I've spent this morning. I've spent most. So the Raptors been away, which made watching wrestling interesting.
Oh,
Not
okay.
as much fun watching it on my own anymore.
I don't mind.
Aww.
I'm used to being a loner. My missus don't care about wrestling.
Well, since I got her into it about 3 years ago, we've always watched it together.
No, that makes sense, you know.
And having a little bit of extra hype with you really does help, like, enjoy things a bit more, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and I think that shows in my scores this week.
Oh,
yeah.
Is Morg the cynical one of us this week?
Anyway, I've had enough of talking about wrestling things. I want to talk about Urtuk.
It's real good.
Bosses now, they're fucking hard. Anyway, yeah.
This is not a sponsored section.
I'd be sponsored by Urtuk.
I would be sponsored by Urtuk too. Do you like miserable post-apocalyptic fantasy strategy games? Yeah, yes. Do you want to pay no more than £10 for it on indie on Steam? Yeah, yes. What about little comic book Dark Souls artwork? All these things please me. Yeah, okay, I'm going to message them for a sponsorship. Again, it's sponsored by weird indie developers on Steam. That's our that's an next source of income, boys. Hi there, welcome to our Steam podcast, where I'll be talking about all things.
You say next source of income. So this might be the first time you've listened to our show, or you might be a repeat listener. If it is the first time, you need to know that we have a tier list, which is how we judge the shows of AEW. We give an overall mark, and how we judge the matches in Dynamite or the pay-per-views. And that tier list will now be explained to you by Mr. Strange.
Hi there. I like to do the tier list by comparing them to a different scale of things I find interesting, like classic cartoons or manga. Today I have probably the most controversial list I've had for discussion amongst my fellows. We will be describing the tier list in the film and via the medium of John Carpenter films. This is a scale, which I have had to elaborate with the boys, of John Carpenter films compared to other John Carpenter films and wrestling, obviously, not to generic films out in the overall media. But anyway, based off the school system, you may recognize it from when you played computer games as a kid. So occasionally when you completed a level, you get a rank from D, terrible, working up to A, great, to S. Fuck me, you've done everything. So a D rank match is something we haven't enjoyed. You've mostly played on your phone, not watched it. Either the wrestling, the story, or a combination of both those things are terrible. Just like the film Ghosts of Mars, which isn't even shit entertaining. It's just shit. Don't watch it. And try to avoid D-rank matches. C is your standard issue match. Maybe the wrestling is good, and I mean good. When I'm like C, I'm not like, I'm like, this is good. I can watch this. The story is there, but neither of those things excel. Just like the cult classic film Halloween, which I had to get ranked by other people because I've never seen it. But if I've never seen it and it's still a classic, it's got to be a C at least. B match takes something a little bit further into the area. You've already got good wrestling, you've got story. Maybe they're both just exceptional. Maybe one of them is phenomenal, but the other one's lacking. That's what I'm getting from a B match. And with that, we've had to go with the wrestling classic. They Live. This was one of contention that got built up. Not like the best serious film, not super acted, but it's a fucking classic and it's awesome, let's be fair. A ranks stick with you for a few weeks. They're the ones where you don't look away. The story makes sense. The wrestling's great. Everything's good. You've had a great time. Best one of the show. A rank. Like my personal favorite film, Big Trouble in Little China, that does absolutely everything perfectly, but it will never be enshrined because it still suffers a bit from Peter's tacky shittiness. S ranks those matches that will be enshrined in the knowledge of wrestling forever. The things we will always talk and remember about, like Hogan versus Shawn Michaels when Shawn Michaels didn't want to lose. Everything is there. Great story, great acting, great action, great wrestling, just like The Thing, the best horror movie of all time. I will fight you. And that's a scale. D, bad. C, good. B, really good. A, great. And S, phenomenal.
I need to argue this. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. What are we going with? What's the argument now?
I've got to say that Big Trouble in Little China is more of a John Carpenter film than The Thing. The Thing is a good film, but Big Trouble in Little China is more John Carpenter-y than The Thing.
I can see what you're saying.
I love The Thing.
Are you happy, Strange, to move your favourite film of all time into the S rank and move
Guys,
your
if you're going to
favourite
push me,
horror film of all time into the A rank?
if that's what we're going to do, I'll just have to take that sacrifice for the good of my co-hosts and the audience.
God damn it, you better.
So that's our tier system. That's how we rank matches. Moving on, news. And this week, I believe, Mr. Strange, so there is a rumour that Mr. Darby Allin has been injured. Have you got any more on this?
All right, okay, I did look into this. What was that, Muir?
I was joking. I said it was a shoot.
It was a shit. I mean, when Ricky Starks came out to the ring and yeeted him into the ropes, I've watched the slow motion of that, and Darby's face just goes fucking straight into it. I shouldn't laugh. It's terrible. It looks like it looks like he may have suffered a light concussion, but seeing as that was a pre-recorded episode, he's fine basically. Nothing long-lasting, and he should be back on the show. Ding! Do you want me to roll?
Ricky Starks apologist.
He owns me, apparently.
Yes, Ricky Starks owns our Mr. Strange.
Yeah, oh god, I think I'm just owning this entire section, boys. Unless anybody's got any other news, I'll just keep going and roll through into other
carry
stuff.
on. I'll just quip at you.
Yeah, just don't point out that I've spelt ratings really badly wrong.
Oh, yeah. So we don't normally discuss ratings because they don't interest us. And having seen how tribal people are on the internet over the ludicrousness of it, it's stupid. But I actually had to explain the ratings and why they matter to Morg this week. So I'll give you a little explanation of ratings and demos because they get talked about a lot after the demo god. So ratings. In America and American TV, you look for the total number of people who are watching the show. That's your overall rating score. Boom. How many people in America watch the show at that time? Then, more importantly than the actual overall, for some reason, the overall amount of people who are watching is the 18 to 39 demographic.
49.
18 to 49 demographic, because these are the people that advertisers are looking for in segments. And that's where income is generated to go to the wrestling companies, and that's why the demos matter so much. This time, for the first time in fucking ages, AEW beat NXT in overall ratings on every demographic except for the 50 plus, and they even beat Raw in the relevant demographic, which leads you to question exactly how many viewers AEW Dynamite would get if NXT hadn't been counter-programmed to it. Either way, it's really impressive. They have matched one of the SmackDown's the A show. They have now matched the B show in demographics.
The A show, mate.
Raw the SmackDown. When did that happen?
Raw is the A show. It is the one that they care about. They pretend they care about SmackDown because they have $1 billion deal with Fox.
SmackDown was the best because it had the SmackDown 6 on it back in the day. It had all the best wrestlers on it, basically.
Benoit, Edge, Eddie, Ray. Eddie
I
Ray.
can't remember.
It might be Jericho, but I think it might be Jericho was the other one. I think.
Yeah.
I just remember that was the cool one when I was a kid. I'm not a WWE man.
It was the good show. It was always the better one to watch.
I'll reiterate, AEW Dynamite has beaten the demos for the WWE's A show in the prime demographic, which is important because that's what capitalism sells adverts through. It's really impressive. They've done real well.
It's also important to notice that Raw is on a very the slot that Dynamite is on is not a top tier TV slot. No, the Monday night slot. Yeah. The Monday night slot is one of the top tier slots. The Friday night one that I believe SmackDown's back on Fridays now.
It is.
I've got another little amendment as well. Actually, the last 15 minutes of the Young Bucks and the Butchers and the Blade match pushed over 1 million in viewers, which is the highest they've ever had since beginning.
I mean, that's great because I love the Butcher and the Blade. So that means they'll be pushed more.
Yeah, that's really good for us as fans and as a bunch of guys who do a podcast about AEW. So
no, it's great.
Unless I don't believe we've got any other news, have we?
I'm out.
Let's move on to back to you again, Mr. Strange, because it's time for your social media of the week.
We've got a bit of a couple of things that have been going on. I'm going to shout out, go to Ricky Starks, comment on Ricky Starks. I put up that this is now a Ricky Starks podcast. And he is now good. Yeah, what was it he said? He liked my tweet that I was turning this into a Ricky Starks podcast. When my fiance said that Ricky Starks now owned me, he just responded with possession is 9/10 of the law. So I belong to Ricky Starks now completely. He's
9/10.
Yeah, he's like super responsive on Twitter. He seems to really care about his community. He's got fucking modeling people saying he's got style, which brings me joy because I love how fabulous he is. So yeah, follow Ricky Starks. Have a look at him. I think he's going to be a rising star now. He's been driven to a more forefront area. I'm also going to give a shout out to Eddie Kingston. And after the great session, the great beginning to Dynamite, which we'll cover in a bit, the internet fell in love with him. And the hashtag of Hire Eddie Kingston went viral. I think it was 5th trending on Twitter. I don't know if that was just the UK or UK and America. And he also liked one of our tweets because I put up that in my last wrestling session, I actually met Eddie Kingston. He was there, but nobody introduced him. It was just this big beard, and he had a big beard. It was just this large American bearded man giving us some advice. And I was like, he sounds very familiar. And I got home and I was watching some TV and I was like, best promos on YouTube. And one of his promos from NWA came up. And I just remember looking at the TV and going, oh no, I was training with Eddie Kingston. And he apparently found that funny, and he's given us a little like on Twitter as well. So yeah, it's quite active. Follow Ricky Starks and try to bully AEW into hiring Eddie Kingston because his promo game is the fucking titties. Social media.
Now it's time to move on to our weekly review. So, as always, we kick off with BTE or Being the Elite. What did you guys think of Being the Elite this week?
Pick me or lead. I forgot to write notes.
Enjoyed it. It had some good bits. They're getting longer and longer. I really like the Anderson and Gallows bit at the start. Yeah. I really like the Anderson and Gallows joke bit at the start. The time travel bit, yeah.
People thought that was real. On the internet, they didn't realize that was set up. They were like, is this real? Or there are 2 Pauls in that company and I trust them both.
I think the bit that really gave it away was it was Matt or Nick going, yeah, you know, maybe sometime round August 2019 we might have our own. So it was really obvious that it was filmed after.
It was great.
I really liked the Kenny moving on to Scientology bit. That made me laugh. I really like Christopher Daniels' new shirt. Well, it's not that new. It's been out for a while, but this is the worst year I've ever lived in. I think that's a great
Cowards.
shirt.
2020 is great television, but no, it is a great. If you're not a miserable apocalyptic nihilist, it must have been a terrible 2020.
I like that the best friends are finally going to kill Brandon.
We gotta kill him, boys. Yes, been saying this for months. I hope we get the Raptors suggestions of like Macaulay Culkin style traps around that, Kevin McAllister style traps around the house of swinging him into him and things. That would make my day. Obviously, I'm a Chucky fanboy, so.
The gardening bit for the over 50s is fucking brilliant. I love that joke.
I had to message all of you guys to ask if you laughed at that, because I laughed at it and I was like, oh, is this a shit joke or am I giving it a sensible chuckle? Best check. And Raptor replied for
they took the piss out of a lot of the things that we have criticised, like going on about the demographic. They also took the piss out of the stalling moves in their match against Jurassic Express, which I thought was good. The things that the internet had picked up, they always respond to that kind of things, and they do it in such a good way that they turn it around. And I like the way that BTE has a cheeky nod. Criticism for BTE this week, I think you picked up on it though. Was it Mr. Strange picked up on it, or Mr. Muir, that the Kenny breakdown needs to be on?
Yes. God, yes.
We always say we'll pick them. We will pick them up on this, though they always advertise BTE now on Dark and Dynamite.
It doesn't matter. They need to put it on their shows still. Even if you advertise it, people won't watch it. And if you're going to bring up story continuity, you really need to add it into the main story. You know.
I'm gonna give an explanation for this from a nerd perspective. So I hate the film Iron Man 3 with a burning passion in my soul, because they compromised the lead nemesis of the iconic character. When I was bitching about this to another comic book fan, he went, oh, you just have to watch this 20-minute short that Marvel released for a brief time on this thing where it shows that the Mandarin is actually real. And I was like, no, make a good film. If you have to do a secret explanation video afterwards to make me happy, you're not doing your job. Put it in the media. Put it there. So I can go, oh.
I think also, just in the defense of the Marvel thing, I think that was a response to the backlash of fans going, you did what with the Mandarin? You succeeded in making all the superheroes work. Why are you so shit at doing villains? Oh, Thanos. Right, okay.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Well, the first
Spider-Man's.
Every Spider-Man
villains have been fantastic.
Both sorry, up until that point. It was up until about Thanos.
Yeah.
The only good two we'd had were the two TV ones. Anyway, moving on from our Marvel podcast.
Yep.
Sliding on from masked villains to masked villains, the Dark Order fucking owned it again. It was great. I love them. More of that.
Can't wait.
If you disagree with me, you're wrong.
I think they need to do an Inner Circle thing and take over for a week.
I don't know. I kind of like them on the fringe. I think they should always be this fringy bumbling group. I think it works better. But it just doesn't suit what they're doing in the ring. They like...
Serious on Dynamite, comedy and BTE.
Yeah.
I think you could have some of the Brody shouting at them to do office work and a variety of things. I think you could tone them down and clip them down. You don't need John Silver on the floor screaming meh and pointing at how they're all bald men with beards. God, it was good.
I think, to be honest, I think that Brody Lee has done really well playing the straight man to the others.
Yeah.
And the other thing you have to remember is the thing about BTE is it's supposed to be the wrestlers playing their characters much more than it's Dark or Dynamite, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's very meta.
Yeah. No, I get you, but I don't know.
Evoluno telling John Reynolds to just leave Silver behind. Just leave him behind. You can't help him now.
I hope that John Silver breaks away and forms the Chadliest man.
It's going to happen, man. Even though he's like the most healy of the Dark Order at the moment. All he does is insult people. It's this ugly piece of shit gonna have to wear a mask. You look the same. Sorry, I really liked it.
Okay, so Yeah, it was good. Well worth a watch. Moving on to Dark. So, what did you think of Dark on the whole? What overall score did you give it? Normally, Mr. Strange. I've actually got some notes about Dark.
Oxon! My very first note is because Taz sat down and went, "I've got a new friend," and my very first note is Taz's new friend is Ricky Starks.
Exactly
it's just
the
written
same here, mate. It was just like, yeah, it's going to be Ricky Starks, you know.
Ricochet versus Shida.
Oh god.
Didn't care. Don't like Ricochet. It was just an ass kicking. I don't understand why Ricochet got this match. Like, I know they have sportsy matches, and I know there's a variety of different things. I know they've got to get numbers up, but Shida wasn't even making the open challenge for the belt. I'd have understood.
It wasn't
then.
even for the belt, mate.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And why are you booking in your champ for the first match on Dark? Like, at least build them up during the show, going, and tonight the champion will be on the show. You know, not just his Shida. Yeah. Like,
I am going to say, as much as I hate Ricochet and the hairbrushing thing, she isn't technically awful. I tried to watch the match and put my hate aside.
No,
she plays her character in her moves. Unfortunately, it makes her look a bit stunted in her moves, but at the same time, she's playing the character. So it's storytelling versus. I think she's a good storyteller.
Yeah, but
you just hate her character and I hate the story she's telling.
You need to get yourself over a bit, you know. Making yourself look like worse through playing that character isn't doing yourself any favors, is it?
I'd like to say now, in 6 months' time, she'll be our favorite female wrestler.
Yeah, it'll be that.
Because that's what happens in AEW.
Oh, totally. I hope that will happen, but at the moment, it's like, this ain't working. This needs to be sorted.
That match was just a showcase in how strong Shida is, and she is fucking hench as fuck. It was fine. I didn't care because I hate Ricochet.
I think I might be a little bit in love with Shida.
She's immense. I love her. She's fucking
no
great.
I'm sorry.
She is no Yuka. I'm sorry. Mate, we've been going on 4chan to get information, and even 4chan likes Yuka.
I'm wearing my Io Shirai shirt at the minute, so I mean that tells you where my heart really lies. Having said that, thing we didn't mention in news. Somebody has left WWE. Apparently, Kairi Sane has left.
I should be going back to Japan.
I imagine so, but we can but hope.
I'm 99% sure that she got married recently, so she's probably retiring soon because she's 30? That's near like Joshi retirement age. Yeah, that's Joshi retirement age. So yeah.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, yes, back on
keep
track.
An eye for Kip versus Corey Hollis, who I've just written down as Man, so I don't even know what he looks like. Solid. Yeah, solid. Some good, nice little exchanges. Solid, almost a good match. Kip is obviously great. His float over is possibly the smoothest I've seen in wrestling. It's wonderful.
Just need to get him a new thing to get his teeth into, seeing as, you know, he lost all his momentum, so he needs to build again. That's the only problem for poor Kip at the moment.
Anything to add, Morg, other than good?
Yeah, it was good.
It was solid wrestling. I really enjoyed quite a lot of the wrestling on Dark.
Yeah, I thought Dark was quite good.
Yeah, no, really good Dark. I'm going to get that a lot. Ali promo, how did you boys feel about it?
It was just building to, we're going to have a tag team league, wasn't it?
Why does Dustin train in his makeup?
I did like, I was wondering that. I also did like, well, Dustin lives in his makeup. We know that because we saw the phone call. I did like Dustin putting them through their paces, but the dysfunctional bickering tag team is a little bit. And are we going to Ali's inevitable betrayal that Dustin told her not to do? I'm a bit confused with where the storyline's going, because Dustin had a go at her and went, "Don't do that thing that always happens in wrestling," and you two seem to be able to work together, and she still seems to be trying to do that thing that they always do in wrestling.
Surely it's a good thing, though, if they're like making you guess what's going to happen.
I think Ali is trying to push Brandy into breaking up the tag team so she looks bad, and it's a as opposed to she'll backstab her and whatever, she'll just fuck her over until Brandy loses her shit. That's my prediction.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't see the point, but yeah, sure.
Well, it's wrestling. We have to take it to bollocks.
Yeah, true.
Gonna roll into. Was this my favorite match?
Best Friends versus Brady Pierce and Sabi.
Yeah, Sabi performed with fucking heart, man. That's my top note. I was like, Sabi is performing with heart and soul. Dimes Brady, great spine buster. Brady is going to be big money at some point in the future. Just look at him.
He looks like the perfect wrestler. He does look like your generic, wrestler.
Oh, pretty man. He's massive as well. I really enjoyed the moment where Chucky got the shit beat out of him. He sort of countered everybody in like a battered drunken style. Did you notice that? Like when he sort of fell a bit at the rope and pulled the rope and the guy went over and stuff. I just thought it was really cool.
Like drunken monkey sort of fighting. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I really liked it. My top comment was, tag Chuck, he'll make you look great, was my top comment.
And he did.
Yeah. Best Friends will make anybody look good, though. They're fantastic wrestlers.
It was just a really good match. Everybody looked great.
Yeah. It was really solid. And, I think it was a good thing for Brady Pierce to actually get some time where he actually got to wrestle. And Sabi looked good as well. So I'm really happy with that match.
Anything to add, Morg?
So my notes. So this is where my notes actually come in. Best Friends. The Best Friends match was amazing, and then immediately Scorpio Sky again had another great match. Those are my notes, and then I have a note about the women's match.
I believe we had Hobbs versus Stark.
We did.
He's such a twat. I love him. Hobbs looks like Cole from Gears of War is my top note. That man is so massive and square. He looks like a legit Gears of War character.
He does.
It wasn't as smooth as it could be, but they're not going to be familiar with each other, and they're very different in size category. Starks' finisher is fucking wicked. It was solid. I have high faith in Starks, and I think Hobbs is going to be great in the future as well.
My two comments were Starks had a great swinging neck breaker, and Taz loves Ricky Starks more than Strange does. So, yeah.
Does this mean that as Ricky Starks now belongs to Taz's stable, that Strange belongs to Taz by proxy?
I don't know. We don't know what the working relationship between Taz and Starks is yet.
I'm sure we'll get a promo about it. I think I am going to end up being very much a Team Taz person, aren't I? They need a Whammons.
They need to not just get squashed by Darby Allin. That's what they fucking need.
Yeah. More on that later. Sky versus Solo? Yeah, Solo. Yeah, Morg's right. It was great. Sky's spin takedown thing was great. It wasn't mind-blowing, but fucking smooth. Good. Solo did a really smooth Cazadora.
Is Scorpio Sky becoming Mr. Dark? I mean, he just has a great match every week.
He's just solid. Like, I've never seen him put on a bad show. Sorry, he's just he's just got the fundamentals, and his ring work is perfect. He'll make anyone look good.
He is a thing of grace and beauty.
Yes, he is.
I can't wait for him to be a champion on the second show. He's got his own intro music. If you get your own intro music from your tag team, something's happening. Sorry, it's just the way it is. Then we go into Kylin versus Diamante. We all knew Diamante was winning because she was on the show, so that kind of stole a bit from it for me. And I go on quite a bit about how I'm excited for Kylin in the future. Little clumsy, high hopes for both. There was a destroyer, but Diamante's destroyers actually look quite good because she's quite small, so it actually looks like the momentum goes with her as opposed to.
And it was a finisher as well.
And it was a finisher.
Yeah.
Like not perfect, but Kylin's new and she's got to get trained up and built up for this tag thing. More on that later. Diamante was obviously getting a win so she could fight Eva Lee to look better. It was fine.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that match. It wasn't. It didn't have a storyline going in anyway, other than Diamante's winning. But it was a really nice showcase of moves and made me start to see something in Kylan King that I hadn't seen before. This was the match when This is the match when I started to see something in her, and I got to see something in Diamante, but I saw something in her previously.
Yeah, she's a bit more known, whereas Kylan is actually homegrown by the look of it.
Yeah.
Anthony versus Darby, the most obvious winner of all of these matches thus far, in my opinion.
100%.
Anthony has suddenly increased in rage by 500%. He's angry heel man now, and he got face paint on his nose that made me laugh. He did like a rolling Romero into a slam at one point. That was fucking cool. It was really nice seeing Darby do his high-speed rolly stuff. I'm not going to lie, I've missed that shit. His fucking kick, roll, jump back up, flip round, dodge under, fucking... He's phenomenal to watch. I've got to give it.
He's not 100% for me, but he's solid, you know.
It's a very new... there's not many wrestlers I can remember who fight, as I would probably put it, like a weasel or a ferret.
Yeah, no. He is something different.
Yeah. So, yeah. We're like the 3 tiers of Darby appreciation up to Morg, who I think is our top tier of him. You're at the bottom, and I'm man who's like, oh, this is cool. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, solid. How did you feel, Darby fan number 1?
I thought it was really good. I liked the storyline with Taz. I liked seeing Darby back. So it worked for me as a fan. The thing I really like about Darby more than anything else is that physical charisma he's got. As I keep, I've said it before, he is the next Jeff Hardy. Hopefully he's not. Hopefully he's the first Darby Allin, and I think there's enough difference in personality to make that. Yeah. But he's got that Jeff Hardy. Jeff was never a great promo guy. Matt was always the promo guy. Jeff got better at promos. Still isn't great. Darby is not the greatest promo, but he's got that physical charisma.
Just needs to polish his Guinness adverts back up. They've suffered a bit, I think, from oversaturation. His early Guinness adverts were a lot better than the
yes. They were really good at the start. Now they're getting a bit too school films.
They need to go back to being Guinness adverts.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly that. Like I say, Guinness advert. I am mocking it, but yeah, we didn't complain. We were like, "This is pretty cool."
It's something we haven't seen before, and I thought it was great. And then we got to the beatdown afterwards. So now we know that Starks is also going to be fed to the Derby. I am fed to the Derby.
I'm hoping we get an unexpected finish, but we'll discuss that later. But talking about raw physical charisma, next match was the Butcher and the Ravelon, and the Butcher's trimming, boys. Have you noticed? He's cutting.
Yeah,
his abs are now showing through his belly. He is getting more hench. God, I love him. Why are 2-man pins allowed?
2-man pins?
Yeah, you know, where there's both people on the one person.
Guess you've got 10 seconds to get out of the ring.
Because there's no AEW.
Like, I'm down with the 10 seconds to get out of the ring, but using it for your pin seems a bit PGT.
As I have said, I believe it was last week, all wrestling rules exist until they don't need to for the moment in the ring.
Yeah.
And as much as we like to pull plot holes, and I am down with you pulling the plot holes, and that is kind of our job on the podcast. I do have to share, you know. Sorry, Mr. Muir.
Yeah, do you remember that? He's not going, I'm going.
Go on.
Remember when I complained about pulling people over the top rope by pulling the top rope, and I just couldn't deal with that one thing, and I'm okay with pretty much everything else. This is where 2-man pins are going for me.
You've got to have your moans about wrestling. We wouldn't be old wrestling fans if we didn't moan.
Otherwise, solid match. I felt sorry for Lever's face when Avalon toe-paid her into the Butcher and her face. Otherwise, it was just solid. The dive tag by Brandon was cool as fuck, and I wish they'd saved that for their main show when they actually get something. Yeah. Otherwise, solid. Was that our main event?
Yeah, that was the last one. It was a really good dark this week.
Really good dark. Like, this is well worth a watch.
Mm-hmm. So overall, what score are we giving it?
Yeah, high big. It is a most definite. They live of a dark.
You could almost have made this a show with a few promos. You know, you could have
a few
almost
promos.
made that an actual TV show. It didn't feel that. You know, it wouldn't be the best one of that TV show, but it would be all right. You know what I mean?
So what we're saying is that dark came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum.
Sort of.
Mate, yes. I'm glad you did that. I was trying to figure out how to get it in.
So now we move on to Dynamite. So Dynamite is Schiavone, Excalibur, and JR on commentary. We open straight away with a TNT Championship Open Challenge. Cody with Arn Anderson, and then out comes Eddie Kingston, cuts a phenomenal promo, and turns it into a no DQ match. Cody eventually wins with the figure 4. What did you think of the match, and what score did you give it?
So I was obviously really excited for this match. I had a choice of 3 people who could possibly be showing up, and my second choice for who it would be was fucking Eddie. And my first note is fucking Eddie. Boy, that man can promo. I couldn't tell if he was selling or injured from his knee, and no injury on him at all. He's fine.
That was
Just
a fantastic sell. Yeah.
He's. My next note, and this will be controversial amongst some people, hopefully you two will disagree with me, is that Kingston is a better brawler than Moxley. Kingston does little eye grabs, brawls, punches, short range slams. He's just a really... that little snap DDT he did was perfect.
But he ain't as dimes as Mox, so, you know. You
yeah, I know. And he put pins down, thumbtacks, and successfully put the target of the thumbtacks into the thumbtacks.
That was madness to me. I've never seen such a thing. It hurt my wrestling soul. I like that they hard cut to Shida acting like she hasn't seen a lot worse in Japan. You know, acting like she's actually surprised by this.
I really like this match. I think this was a.
I thought the girls in the crowd really helped make that moment. Just as a bunch of people who are actually wrestlers, I thought they really helped make that moment.
They did do great, but I just don't believe it when I see Shida going, "Oh no, some tacks!" It's like she's probably seen a lot worse every night in Japan.
I am going to bring up the psychological effect of tacks when I was a kid. When I'd see them through my grainy resolution television, there was just a lot of little dots. I'd be like, thumbtacks. When I watch them on my 54-inch high-def television, it zooms in the full centimeter of like tack. I was like, oh no. It was a different style match. It's definitely something different we've seen from Cody. I love Eddie Kingston. I'd love to see him back with Santana and Ortiz, who he trained.
Very best.
I did only give it a B. I don't think it quite crossed that story to exceptional wrestling we're looking for an A-grade match.
No.
But I loved everything about it. And if you watch Eddie Kingston's promo afterwards, which is on his wall and on the AEW on TNT Twitter, it's more Eddie. He's phenomenal. He could be a face, he could be a heel, and he'll always be that fucking tough, poor New York kid. I fucking loved it. But it's a B.
Just put him in as a manager. I know I said we don't need too many managers, but have him wrestle every so often, but don't have him wrestle all the time. Don't let him be overexposed. He's getting on a bit. Let's be honest here. He's real good, but he is getting on. It was a solid B match, though. I really like the wearing down of Cody. Like every single one of these matches taking another chunk out of him. I really like that appeal. I would say it's definitely, a solid B. What about you, Morg?
Or less indie wanker than us, Morg.
Interesting to be back onto Cody being a full-blown babyface after last week. So my rank was, and I say this was affected by watching it on my own, I think. See, I had it down as CB because I wasn't sure. It sounded like it was a B to me, and I am on your side. The more that you've talked about it, reminded me about the little things that really made the match good, and so I think that was a B.
I'd also like to point out that Eddie Kingston had to sell his old wrestling boots to pay for the mortgage on his house. So AEW have done him a fucking solid, and if we can get him a job there, we are helping a man who helps people. And I've met him in person, and he didn't even tell me who he was. He was just this big, like, lovely American man giving us advice,
trying to show off or anything. Yeah,
he was awesome. It was a B.
So moving on from that, we had a very quick Mox promo. Pretty standard Mox affair, I thought. I thought it was quite good. What did you guys think?
Solid. I didn't bother ranking it. Mid-tier Mox.
Just
To
Mox.
explain the arm break.
Yeah.
We got the arm break. They're dressing up the arm break because a bunch of us judged it quite harshly. So by doing this promo and another one later, they're going to try and make it try to win over people like me who were very judgmental over it.
Yeah.
Solid.
So, yeah, following on from that, MJF with Wardlow versus Griff Garrison. MJF wins with the Heat Seeker. What do you think of the match? What score did you give?
D.
I laughed at some of the MJF bits. I laughed at Jungle Man. I enjoyed the defiance from Griff. I think it would have been better if he hadn't given in at all, if I'm honest. He needs to up his promo game a bit, but he's young and he's got a great look. I've got no doubt who the fuck is Griff Garrison will get Griff Garrison over, but a squash doesn't need to be that long, man. Just D. That
just
time
went on and on, didn't it?
Yeah, just...
And
you anything good to say about it, Morg?
D.
Okay.
D.
And they just keep going, undefeated MJF, and it's just like, mate, stop doing that, please.
I also, that is an albatross around your neck, MJF. It really is.
Also, 30 prizes! 30 prizes! Come on, 30 prizes!
The sooner somebody fucking beats MJF, the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it'll be Moxley. He's been baiting him on Twitter.
I think it's going to be Wardlow.
God, I hope so.
I mean,
so do I. So after that, we had a Britt Baker promo. What did you think? Did you give it a score?
It was better. Didn't have trash in it, so that made me happy. Went back to
the last one. Solid. Sorry, well, Muir. I'm just going to talk over you. I think we could go a show without her. Maybe, you know, that distance makes the heart grow fonder, etc. Maybe have a week off, come back with a bit more of an overly picture. It was fine. Like, it wasn't bad.
You'd have to push the other women then. And what would you do?
Oh, God. Oh, God. I would announce an entire tag league.
Yeah, it was solid, but nothing great, I think. I think she needs to have some time off, like you were saying. Morg, your thoughts?
It was all right. I agree with you. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I hadn't thought of that, but yes, actually give her a week or two off.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have a break.
I think we'll enjoy the next Brit promo if it's not if it's not next week.
Can I just ask a question here? Who can stop the path of Cage?
Taz. Taz can stop the path.
Literally anyone.
An old retired dude who can't wrestle anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So, in case you hadn't guessed, next was Taz and Cage promo. Darby Allin interrupts. Ricky Starks blindsides Darby, and then Mox makes the save with the barbed wire baseball bat. Before we get into the run-ins and what have you, what did you think of the promo and the explanation? Did you give it a score?
I didn't score it. It felt a bit like I was being pandered / explained to. Like, Taz basically came and went, I promise he'll win next time. Cool. That's what I want from my Unstoppable.
All it reminded me of was, I know this is an offbeat thing, but it only matters to Strange. It sounded like what my Star Trek character would say, and Star Wars character would say if he backfired against Stranger's one. That's all it sounded like. It was awful. And the other bit was, why did 3 men run away from Moxley? Surely they could have still taken him. You know? Why were they so scared by him?
Barbed wire baseball bat and Moxley. That was what I was saying, was how Moxley would beat Cage to the Raptor every time Taz went, you can't beat him. I said, Mox just going to hit him with a barbed wire baseball bat and fuck him up. Because that's Mox's proper background, is the real hardcore, which they don't play on enough. But just sticking with a bit of kayfabe, you know, Mox and a barbed wire baseball bat, you get the fuck out the ring. That is the correct thing to do. I will defend them on that one. Because that's what his character should be. Mox turns up with the barbed wire baseball bat. You go, you know what? Nah, you're all right. I'll fucking blindside you next week. they are heels. Heels need to be slightly cowardly, even when they look like Cage.
Okay.
It's true, but they're being cowardly in every single encounter
Yeah.
now.
they just
I
look
gave it a C. I didn't like it that much, but from an objective point, you know, I wasn't sold on the arm story, and plenty of people were. So I put that aside, and I went, "It's a C promo." Taz is good at promo.
Yes,
We got to see both our teams. I'm a lot more excited for Team Taz than Team Moxley. I'm not feeling any badassery from their team at the moment, and if a hero is only worth the merit of his villains, basically. And if they always beat them and drive them out, and as we've criticized before, every heel and every mega heel has been defeated by every face since Jericho lost the title.
Yes.
We need heels to win. We need some heel stuff. Come on, boys. Give us some
I think
baddies.
one of the problems is they rely a lot on squash match, not having the crowd, etc. I know I keep going back to that. So we're having the squash matches for the big guys. The other problem, I am going to be very honest here. One of the reasons that you're going to, I think, struggle getting behind the faces in this is because you're part owned by one of the heels, and the other one is your friend-shaped Cage. And
It is beautiful.
And I love Cage, and Ricky Starks is growing on me, but there being a couple of dicks, it's just a good guys overcome. The thing I really like, and it's the same thing I really liked last week, Mox came to Darby's aid.
No, that's really cool.
And I like
the
that.
The story and the character.
Yeah, that those two have on the quiet had each other's backs since that time they had a match against each other. I don't think Darby's winning over Cage, by the way. I don't think. I think this Darby is where Cage will get his win.
I am going to reserve judgment because at the moment, all that happens is good guys win.
Yeah.
And
I would not agree with you there. I'd be happy to see this, Morg. Don't get me wrong, but I just can't see it at the moment. All I feel that FTW belt was just brought in to go around the waist of Darby.
It's true. It's possible. There is the other thing, and it's something I've always complained at WWE for, to be fair, though, is when you have... So WWE famously had an anti-bullying campaign, and then they would have their bullying heels always go over to try and get to the point where people would actually care about John Cena or Roman Reigns. AEW are playing it the other way of a passion play, which is whereby eventually the good guys do overcome the bullying heels. The problem is we're not getting the long-term stories on those. It's that short-term, long-term thing we were talking about last week.
Yeah,
in the short term,
they just come out and go, "Take that, heels."
Yeah, we're not getting that long-term.
Exactly.
We could have done with what we could have done with was Cage and Ricky Starks beating on Darby for insulting Taz for a period of time.
Just a bit more build.
Kept Cage away from Mox, then moved Cage towards Mox later as Mox comes out to save Darby because we've seen this. And I think that would have been a better long-term transition. And then you would have cared about Darby finally getting the win, probably over Ricky Starks, not Cage, and Cage going up against Mox and suddenly finding out why Mox is the world champion, even though you're a big monster. We could have built up for more time. So yeah, long-term, short-term story booking AEW.
Right.
You can't rely on the rotor anymore. It's been 5 months. Book it like a regular TV show.
So next we had a promo for the women's division for a women's tag team tournament. I know we're going to talk about this later. Do you want to just leave this for now?
Yeah.
I'll just get. I'm gonna give. I hated the. I'm excited by the idea. I hated the actual advert itself. If you have a montage of people just like going, "It's great, it's great. I'll be the champion," whilst music plays, it just makes me think of like a fucking toothpaste advert or something. You know, or fucking life insurance.
Yeah.
Bad advert.
Anyway,
roll on.
Yeah.
So after that, we had Inner Circle promo. Did you give it a rank?
Sure.
I liked Santana's comment about they still smell. That was funny. But yeah, it was all right.
Cared so much about the Jurassic Express match that he began, and there were several comments towards Orange Cassidy. Good
Yeah.
times. I'm so
Yeah.
angry that they had a bad promo where they laughed at the joke we made them that I'm gonna have a match. Didn't care.
Young Bucks backstage to start their Falls Count Anywhere match against Butcher and Blade.
Mwah.
Bucks win after the double elbow drops from the lighting rig, and this might be my favourite Butcher and Blade match yet. What did you guys think of it, and what score did you give it?
It was fucking great. I have not seen, especially the start, I've not seen a fight in a kitchen since the 90s. And back when you play computer games in the 90s or the wrestling games, the first thing you try to do is run out the back so you could slam people into pans and stuff in the kitchen. I loved it. As Muir sent me a message going, when somebody comes into the middle of your split shift. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. Oh no, this match was fantastic. I loved it.
So
That
the last time I saw a fight in a kitchen was back when I worked at Burger King, and we used to have the BKWF when we were first getting into wrestling, and I would be working on front counter as a manager, and I would suddenly hear oh, as somebody had just jumped somebody else and was trying to DDT them into the stove.
So
This is
many
a true
times.
story.
Every time, mate.
This is if you want some wrestling things that have happened in kitchens, I once got my head chef into a headlock so hard, and he was a 6'4" yam and about 18 stone, that he picked me up, put me on top of the salamander, and turned it on. This fight is what fighting in a kitchen feels like. I've taken slams, elbow drops, thrown people into racks of pans before, and I was like, it resonated with my soul.
It was so good. I loved this start. I loved
the mud show sign in the back of the truck made me piss. That was a lovely little joke.
I loved how they attacked on the trolley. I thought that was one of my favourite parts.
Oh god, the trolley! They rammed it in.
Yeah.
A bit. I did feel there was one bit where they both went for the blade and he sort of cowered, and I didn't feel that was needed unless he was going to do something heelish with it. But he just cowered, then got super kicked onto an escalator. And
I
Ruth
did love him falling up the elevator, though. That was funny.
Ruth didn't like that. She's got one of the those phobias of escalators.
Yeah.
Blade just threw himself out the ring. He did a Trent. He just threw himself out of the ring onto his ass.
He had 100% conviction with that move. You leave him alone.
That was instantly followed by my move of the year, which I've actually got to find a gif for, which was the Butcher crossbodying Matt through that table. He just went perfectly sideways. He just blew up. My only real criticisms would probably be the end where they did the double jump off the stage, which I would have been fine with, but because each 2-on-1 each of them onto the table, it took them like a minute to take the plate down on the table. Then they went over to the Butcher, it took the same with him, and then they had to walk. Then one of them, Nick, had to walk back to the other side of the ring, and I was like, a little bit too much setup for me. You could have just taken one each and just fucking flipped it. Butcher and the Blade are fucking over now. Yeah, they've been building up, but that match, dimes. And I think that showed that they can perform on that Bucks level. I gave it a B overall because we're not. Oh, were you expecting an A?
Actually, so was I. This was the one match.
And was dodgy, but it's a Young Bucks match. You've got to expect that slow spot at some point, mate.
Yeah, but we were having the Lucha Brothers and the Butcher and the Blade feud versus FTR and the Bucks, and both of those teams have now beaten both of the other teams without the heels getting a single win, and that kind of cost it for me in my heart. I'm like, oh, no heels again. The good. This is just so FTR can turn heel and go on the Bucks. So I'll establish heel. Oh, you know.
Yeah,
it's been. I will concede it was probably an A match, and I am being judgmental and smarky.
No, I think you're right, actually. I'm kind of with you, because now you've kind of angered me, because I've thought about this. Yeah, you may be right, actually. Yeah, but it is 4 heels just fighting each other. That's the thing is, none of these teams are faces. It's not like the Young Bucks are fucking faces.
They are presented as our faces.
They are presented as these characters. Yeah, the Young Bucks definitely are the faces. They are. I would say they are the one team that is definitely a babyface team.
say so.
It was a great match, though. It's between a B and an A for me, just from story anger.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from, though. I'm 100% down with, yeah, there goes the heels again. Out the window. We don't need them.
I've written it down as BA, but I assumed that the B was because of my not being quite so enamoured watching it on my own.
It was in a bubble. It was an A match, but I think now that Strange has mentioned the story side, it has got to me a bit. And I would say in the storytelling side, it would bring it down to a B, in my opinion.
I am the TV show snob here, basically.
No,
but on the other hand, we'll just roll past this because this is going to be controversy into probably the only good heel building I've seen in quite some time.
So next we have a Lance Archer and Jake Roberts backstage promo. What did you think of this, Strange, and what score did you give it? I'm specifically asking Strange because I know the answer.
Is there anything more phenomenal than Jake the Snake doing like slow, calm talk about how dangerous a man is whilst he throws people through like wardrobes through the ceiling and puts them in bins? Sure, Lance blew himself up a bit and wasn't so good at his little afterwards. The actual fucking scene of just him wrecking jobbers whilst it was just spoken over calmly by Jake, it was wonderful. The internet loves it. There are fucking GIFs about it already. That, for me, was an S-rank heel moment.
Yeah,
Please feel free to disagree.
I think it was solid build, you know. Archie could just go have a wank and calm down a bit, couldn't he? You know? No, it was beautiful. I loved him shoving people into bins, just fucking up. But he just needs to beat someone with a name now. He needs to beat someone with a fucking name, you know.
Please.
Yeah.
Go on, Morg. Be our non-NJPW fanboy.
Yeah.
Actually, I quite enjoyed it. It got me. It was funny in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Lance just wrecking everything while Jake cuts the promo. We didn't have Jake trying to calm Lance down, which is also something that I'm not entirely sold on at the minute. And yeah, it was certainly an
awesome. Hooray! We're all agreed that was fucking wicked. When they do a little cinematic thing, they do it really well. Like,
I think they do more of them, to be honest. I know this is sacrilege, but it's the promos and stuff that draws people in. It's not the wrestling, guys.
No, you're exactly correct.
Yeah.
People, what? Oh no, we're back to why Vince Russo drew the most, even though his show was garbage.
Yes, mate. It hurts my soul because I love wrestling, but you need to have these, oh my god, this is, trash TV moments. Otherwise, you won't get the normal punters in. I think you need them. And I think we could do with more of stuff like this,
Yeah. So we won't keep gushing over this. The next one was Diamante. I'm going to take over for this one because we have our women's expert, the Morg. Jesus. So the next match was Diamante via Evilise. Morg, what did you think of the match and what rank did you give it?
Diamante wins with an inside cradle roll up. I just got to see.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you didn't gush over this because I didn't think Evilise was giving us her A game.
It just got to see. We didn't see the scorpion kick for a start.
No.
So that immediately knocked it down a rank before we started. It just wasn't.
If I know Evie, she wasn't happy that she wasn't going over, so she didn't put on a good match. Shoot me if I'm wrong, but
it's quite possible.
Yeah.
It's quite possible. I'm with you. I probably would have given it a high D, low C. It was all right. It wasn't great.
The only thing that would have taken it to a D for me is the fact they had the little fucking cutaway in it. Oh my god! Just give your women 5 fucking minutes, lads. Come on.
Yeah, don't cut away to Big Swole when you've made a big thing about Evie turning up. As well.
Jesus Christ, that drove me mental at the time. It's just like, come on, give them at least.
Why could that not happen as a promo just before or as a promo after?
Mate,
Because, Morg, that would take out of the 10 minutes that women are allowed on the show.
Faster! Come on, you've only got 8 seconds left.
Hashtag give divas a chance.
Hashtag give divas a chance. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't even have a lot. I have not a lot to say about this match. For the exact opposite reason, I have not a lot to say for the next match.
The problem with this is, and now I just don't care about Diamante going up against Shida. Like, I don't think that was a good build for Diamante. She hasn't
They're
had
going to be a tag team. That's the entire point of this. She'll lose to Shida, they'll be a tag team.
I think she's going to be a tag team with Evie because they said that they've tagged together.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Then Eddie Kingston could be their fucking manager, and they can have mostly women's LAX this time.
That would be cool.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Boom! On the spot booking from Matthew Strange.
I like that.
My main comment was, God, I miss Son of Harkovic. Please give me back Son of Harkovic. So moving on.
Right, roll
So what are we saying overall for that?
on. I'll agree with you, boys.
Moving on, 5 of the Dark Order versus Hangman Adam Page. Hangman wins with a powerbomb. What did you think of the match? And what score did you give it?
There's like no notes on it
I have
because I
2
just
lines.
watched it. I have 2 lines as well. Hangman playing to the crowd more, and yeah, I'm happy. Very solid. I think it's a B. I just watched it. Didn't comment on anything. I just watched. We got some story at the end, obviously, but we'll cover that. Fallen Angels is going to be fucking immense. Hangman came out. He's got more character going. He's really just good. Just great. I enjoyed it.
I loved his lower third comment of gonna see how this white wrist tape works out for me. I just can't take John Silver seriously when he's standing there, just looking there trying to be menacing, just because I know what he's like now. And we needed this to be longer. I fucking loved this match. It was just solid. Just enjoyed it. As a wrestling fan, this is a great match just to sit back and watch.
Oh, Morg, you have to be the critical one here.
So, again, I am working on I was watching this alone. I only gave this a C. I just watched it. I was like, that was good. That was all right. I didn't see enough shine that I think I wanted to see. But I think also I had done that thing I did with last week or the week before with FTR versus Lucha Brothers, where I'd gone in going, this is going to be an S.
Yeah.
And it was probably a B.
But
and so I was disappointed and gave it a C.
Yeah.
What
I'm thinking.
did you give it, Muir?
Say again?
I said, what did you give it, Muir? But he's gone.
I gave it a B.
Oh, okay. Sorry, carry on, Morg. I was just checking the ranks.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, I think it probably is a B, and it just wasn't as great as I was expecting. I thought it was going to really knock me out of the park, and it was just solid.
It was like Kenny versus Angels or Phoenix versus Angels.
That was, I think, that's what hurt it a bit, because the 2 great matches we'd seen with Angels, and I was like, when we saw he was going to be with Hangman, I was like, oh, this is going to be really good.
Yeah.
I think they might have slowed down Angels. I reckon they might have just gone, trying to be a bit chill, because we're going to need to give you a push in the future, and you're so solid that, just have an easier time. You don't need to overdo it. You're signed.
He's got the contract. He doesn't need to actually show off as much now.
And also,
just to be...
So he doesn't want to look better than the face at the end of the day.
And you're going up against the future champion.
Yes, mate.
There you are.
So at the end of that, Brody Lee comes out, cuts a promo, Dark Order enter into attack page, FTR to make the save, as I predicted, and Omega comes out just after the save. So what did you think overall of the whole thing?
I think... Oh, go on, Muir. Go on.
I love that he's actually been more of a mob boss now. I love that he was running a protection racket. I thought that was great. Not just this, oh, I'm Vince McMahon, lol thing. It was really good. I really like that. I think
Bruce and Hangman have got great chemistry together. We've seen it on Dark, and I reckon they'll interact really solidly.
Yeah, I think they're really good together. I just don't care about the FTR story. You can see it coming a mile away, and it's just like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit cynical here, but it was just like, oh, here comes FTR. I didn't see that coming a mile off, you know.
Four.
Yeah.
Well, at least if we're following traditional Kenny breaks up with tag team partner, becomes the cleaner, gets really good at wrestling. People think he's a really cool character, but then they see the cleaner and realize he's a fucking dork.
Just shouting at the back of an NGPW interview at other wrestlers, pulling faces, you know, like
Coming down to the ring with a big broom.
Yeah. This guy ain't cool, guys.
It's not cool. Yeah.
No,
I'm
it's
intrigued.
solid. Yeah. Like, I think it can go really well. It's just a bit too overplayed on what's going to happen. They need to stop with the force stuff and just let it naturally happen, in my feelings. But yeah, it's good. It's good.
So following on from that, we had Jurassic Express, which was Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy versus the Inner Circle, which was Jericho and Hager with Santana and Ortiz. In the match, Serpentico suddenly leaps out, hits Luchasaurus with a baseball bat. See the danger of a baseball bat. Jericho hits the code breaker for the win. So the match of itself, what did you give the match as a score? We'll go into what happened afterwards. What was your overall for this, and what did you think of the match?
Right, so I'm gonna have to let you sort of know something in advance because of my notes, Morg. I found a thread on 4chan where they said where Luchasaurus should be rebranded as a man who really likes dinosaurs called Dean O'Saw. So all of my notes just have him down as Dean, so you know.
Dinosaur.
Dean O'Saw. Reason for the fight was weak. They laughed at us last week. But on the other hand, like when Hager and Luchasaurus went up against each other, they were really good.
Yeah, the big hospital was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
I got to
They've
see some
got
good
chemistry, those two.
Yeah.
Yes, they have. I got to watch that and I was like, this is intense. It's good. Jungle Boy is obviously always phenomenal. And we had Matt Hardy watching in the crowd at first. I was like, why is Matt Hardy watching? But I think that's to do with the thing that happened at the conclusion. So I'm intrigued. Jurassic Express cheated first. Everybody noticed that?
Yeah.
They were the first ones to cheat.
The Marco. A little prick.
Otherwise, the match was pretty good. Once again, I think this was a B grade match. I think they could have gone without the bat scene that was solely for Aubrey to have a disagreement with Jericho. I don't understand. I'm going to get the baseball bat. Why? You're winning. You've been kicking the shit out of them. Why are you getting the baseball bat? Oh, Aubrey's chased him off.
Sparks in the ring, mate. Sparks in the ring. I've got to have my bit. You know, instead of focusing on the wrestlers.
And obviously, Luchasaurus's one hot tag sequence that he has that I point out every time. Duck under two blows, do a flip on your hands, kick, they dodge one, you kick the guy, kick the other, do a choke slam. But otherwise, great match, great chemistry. I like Luchasaurus and Hager together. Jungle Boy is obviously going to be fucking $1 million. Jericho's great. B grade match. I had a good time.
I'd say it was also a B.
I have it down as CB. Go on, sorry, Muir.
I'm mostly excited about what happened after.
So yeah, Serpentico comes out, as I say. Serpentico then pulls his mask off, reveals it's actually Sammy Guevara. Inner Circle, beat down on Jurassic Express, Orange Cassidy and Best Friends for the save. What did you think?
So nice to have Sammy Dimes back.
Sammy Dimes. I thought the ending was great. I liked how the Best Friends ran out. This is a 5v5 I can get behind. We had a build for a bunch of matches this week, actually. So, yeah. Really good ending. I'm happy Sammy's back and has been through his sensitivity training and hopefully grown as a person, and that Twitter didn't manage to get him cancelled through being a screaming horde.
Yeah.
That's as politically incorrect as I'll go.
So, Dynamite overall grade?
It was a solid show.
I think it's a B. I think it's looking like a B.
Yeah.
Lowish B, I'd say. Yeah. It was...
All of the criticisms I had mostly forgotten until my notes came through. Yeah. You know, there was nothing in my mind that niggled me from the show. I mostly went, wow, what a good show. But yeah, B, good times. Watch this Dynamite.
I really had a great time, especially that Butcher and Blade Young Bucks match. I recommend going back and watching that if you haven't watched anything. If you
That'll
were,
be on YouTube soon enough.
Yeah.
I'll share it about. That'll be
Um,
one of their ones they go, you can watch this.
Yeah. So I think overall, this week has been a B.
yeah, I'd say so. Definitely.
Yeah, really good week for wrestling in AE dubs. No
Yeah.
wonder they're smashing the rankings.
Yeah.
Take
Hopefully
that,
the ranks.
Vincels.
So over now, we will already have our questions. Unless there's anything come up on Twitter that you haven't told me about, I don't believe we have any questions this
No,
week.
I'm afraid not.
If you'd like to
Only
ask,
interact with wrestlers, apparently.
if you'd like to get in touch with us, we are wrestleopinionated@gmail.com. We are WrestleOP on Facebook. We are WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Please send us stuff. We like stuff that we can talk about, what you think about, what you'd like to hear our thoughts on. And also, if you want to give us a subject for one of us, or usually Mr. Strange, to get angry about and have a rant of the week. Are you ready, Mr. Strange?
Segue, I'm proud.
I know.
Yeah, I am armed and ready. This is a niggle I'd been building up to, which was has been ignited further, and I think we've all had this niggle, and it's built up to hatred through other things. Stop spoiling wrestling. Just stop spoiling the end of the shows. And yes, I am currently speaking to you specifically, person out here, but also YouTube channels, wrestling channels. You can after my main thing in life now is building up to this day where I talk about wrestling. So every Wednesday, Thursday, I get up and I'm like, wrestling time. I can't go on YouTube because Wrestle Talk, Cultaholic, Wrestle Culture fucking have spoiled everything. You go and you're like, oh, I just want to watch some music videos whilst I wash up. And it'll be like, did you know that Champion X showed up? Or can you guess who the new champion is of this belt? And you're like, well, only 2 people were in the fucking fight, weren't they?
And
Thanks,
it has
guys.
a picture of the person holding the fucking belt. Sorry, I want to jump in there.
No, mate, it's all of that. We've got it worse. Fucking NJPW itself, the day after they had a huge fucking spoiler and title change, put it as the #1 video on their fucking YouTube channel. That's them. Muir's cancelled his guy's subscription.
Yeah, I've cancelled my subscription to NPW World just because I'm sick of it. Like, I don't want to be waking up at 6 a.m. to watch a match. If I wake up at 10 a.m., I don't expect the match to already be spoiled for me. Just saying, guys.
Just chewing shit. Just take us. And this is you as well, fucking AEW on TNT. Take your time with your shit on Twitter. Some of us don't live in America. Some of us don't stay up till 2 to watch the wrestling. We've got shit to do. Bust out some silhouettes. Do you remember silhouettes with a question mark on? Who could this be? Yeah, fucking hit me with some of that. I get less spoilers on Reddit. Everybody on fucking Squared Circle on Reddit is very respectful. Little brackets, spoilers. End of the show. This, that, and the other. Not the fucking people who actually are the journalists. I don't care if the ratings come out. They just don't tell me who's holding the belt if you've had a champion match. Don't put up a picture of, you'll never guess who was at this show. Fucking giant slapped up picture of big buff topless dude. Oh, it's that guy from the Indies I know. Fucking chill your shit. Take some time. Be respectful. Put some spoilers on stuff. We don't do this till like 4 days later. We're fucking spoiler filled. But we're not the next day news, are we? Fuck my... Yes, please. With your YouTube channels, with your Twitter groups, with your posts on Facebook or Reddit, please. Be respectful of those of us who don't watch the show till the next fucking day.
It was just the fucking... Evil has won both belts and defected to Bullet Club in giant title as soon as I logged onto my PC because my window just popped up because you know how pages pop up. So my YouTube popped up in front of me. I was just like, well, I don't want to watch this pay-per-view now. I know exactly what happens in the main event, and the guy that I want to hold the belt just lost them.
Yep, that's exactly what happened on mine as well. Go onto YouTube, click some music. Did you know? Giant spoiler. Did you know? New title holder. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
I think I've calmed down. I'm all right. That was only a brief one.
Yeah.
It's a hatred we'll share.
I think it was an important one. So moving on now, Mr. Muir, what would you like us to discuss this week?
Right. So apparently AEW have 16 women that can wrestle and that are on the show. Apparently they have this. Apparently, I've not seen them, but they're somewhere. So guys, who would you put in as tag teams? You know, like I
You
was.
opened with a higher level of sarcasm than I was expecting. If I'm completely honest, you broke me a little bit.
I'm just saying because when
having 16 women, they might have 6 women on the roster. They've only got 4 that they've pushed, and we only know about Britt Baker because she's on every week.
I asked Strange
Yeah.
as soon as it happened, I was like, "Oh, Ruth's had a bit of wrestling training. Have they called her up yet?" That was my first joke. It's just so yeah. So what do you think, guys? Where do you think they're going with this, and who do you think's in it, and who do you think's going to win, and what do you think's going to happen, basically?
I didn't try to get too many teams actually written down.
No. It's just a discussion.
We've got so little in the way
information.
of
Yeah.
one of the top stars they were pushing, well, for the new lasses. I've forgotten her name. Shit. Stove Star, the magician girl, evil magician in the Dark Order now.
Apparently in the Dark Order. Oh, what's in?
How's she going to have a tag team partner? There's no other women in there. That was a mistake.
Well, they're just going to throw women together. Is the idea?
Is it like the Dusty Cup? Is that what it's going to be? Where the prize money is so big that all these single stars will join up in tags? Is that the push for it?
Judgmental, but Dario Cueto used to do this all the time.
Yeah, but Dario Cueto had style and would do it well. He sold the Dial of Doom, for God's sakes. That man could sell anything to me.
He's got a point there.
I'm going to go in.
Was amazing, but was also incredibly shit.
Yes, but I loved it. Sacrificing to the gods. Fucking love it.
Okay, I'll lead in with the positive and then allow our women's expert and most cynical man of today to judge this.
Thanks.
So, as long as you actually have the storytelling of explaining how teams are being randomly put together, or people can ask for teams, but everyone else will be assigned, and that is explained, it gives us the opportunity to show people who have a familiarity. Obviously, Evilise and Diamante are going to be one. Extending Shida and Statlander, we've had that build up before. That could be a tied thing, and I'm going to assume Pika and Reba. I actually don't know how to pronounce her name due to those promos. This gives us the opportunity to build a bunch of characters by either having them not work together or be really good together, and grow, showing us where this can go, and inevitable fall apart, and the characters of even singles wrestlers. My biggest issue is you're instantly going to tell who the first teams are going out, like when Ricochet and that lass who wears pink tops come out together from Dark, and they're like, the tag team this versus she. It's going to be too fucking obvious. And we know Brandy and Ali are getting to the final.
The final, yeah.
But I see it as a vector to sort of very quickly give us a bunch of different characters and get us to know them in essentially a montage of character work via a new tag tournament.
Counterpoint. This feels like Justice League coming out, mate. You know when they just went, we'll go straight to the big film where everybody's all together and all that bollocks, instead of building up each of the characters singularly first. That's what it feels like to me.
We start with a tag tournament.
It's very brave. Like, I'm hoping it works out because I really want to see some better like women's division. If you get me like Yuka and Rio together, I'm going to be real happy. Don't get me wrong, but
Jimmy Hayter and B.
Oh,
they're actually a tag team in ODOTI as well.
I know they are, but
let's get the women's expert.
So obviously, yeah, you've just clocked a couple of the ones that I'm already going. Well, I think it'll probably be Yuka and the one who does the Freddie Mercury impression.
Oh, Emmy.
I don't think they'll bring Amy back. I think she's.
Or it'll be her and Rio.
Yeah, her and Rio would make more sense. Yuka's more of a star than the other two, like these day and age. Yuka's like princess of princesses, which sounds really stupid, but you know that's a really high-ranking thing in Japan.
So,
yeah.
So firstly, I like your idea, Strange, that we'll have a brain now going
a draw. of like the women together.
This will be a way to get a lot of these women's characters over that they've not been putting the time into, that they could have put the time into at other times, so they're just giving them 10 minutes. The few women that they've tried to put over, they've got over and they've made us like, but they're still only doing like one women's segment, and that's not acceptable in this day and age when you've got NXT and you're. I mean, I haven't watched NXT in ages,
Counterpoint
so I
to
don't know
that, though,
how
Morg,
good
is
the women's division is over there at the minute. Go on.
WWE did kind of sign up every single female, good wrestler back then. So,
Yeah.
They are struggling to get female wrestlers of quality. No offense to some of the ladies, but
I think we've got an obvious one. If he's not signed with WWE, I think we're going to see Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah.
I reckon Akihito.
The big problem I have with it is currently
Makihito.
it's going to be like the and I said this when Strange said he really wanted a women's tag division.
Yeah,
it's going to be like the WWE one where they went, yeah, we're going to do women's tag team. We're going to play with it. When you do that thing when you're taking the piss and you play with something by closing your eyes and just moving your hands around.
Yeah.
It's that. That's exactly what. Okay, so we will have had a small technical difficulty there. We should be hopefully back and up and running, and it would probably happen halfway through us speaking. Because I don't know where we are. I'm just going to have to just splice that together and just be honest
just
about
carry on. Doesn't matter.
So my concern, as I was saying, is it's going to be like when the WWE did their tag division, and you do it like closing your eyes and just sort of go, yeah, that's how it's going to be. The other problem with that one was it wasn't Sasha and Bayley winning. That was perfectly acceptable. They were two of the correct people to put the belts on. They were also the only fucking tag team they had that were not the Iconics.
The belts on the Iconics.
And that was it. They had one real tag team, women's tag team. Now they've got a couple more. And doing this more like the Dusty Cup, where you just draw people and put them together, I think that's the way to do it. And I think it is, you can then do the trick of seeing who's popular and getting some of these other characters over. Who is teaming with a Baden? That's the big question for me.
No one. She wins on her own. Yuka, because I've seen Yuka wrestling with a wrestler called Ure, and
so
it was
good.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
She just screams and looks disgusted and runs away from her. But we've got to get an Abaddon push. The advantage we do have with AEW is the fact that in AEW you are not punished on your singles career for being a tag team wrestler.
No, you don't lose stats. It's not NJPW.
So they've got that bit of free leeway with the you won't see somebody who's the tag team champion and the women's champion, obviously, but you've got that little bit of extra leeway on. They can actually challenge them and push them, and it won't be an issue.
My main worry is if they give this enough time. I just have this fear that they're going to try and speed through this as quickly as possible just to push this Ali and Brandy story, and I'm just a bit worried about it from how bad they've been handling the rest of the women's league. But if it's tag teams, they've done fantastic with the male tag team, so hopefully we get something good.
As I said, AEW's opened and we knew virtually nothing with basically a big male tag team thing, and that got to know a bunch of the team, a bunch of the other people. If they do it well and we get promo work and see teams that have been randomly thrown together who don't quite get on, and teams that they obviously do bond, then it will be a great use of well-written material to develop all of their characters in a short period of time.
100%.
If they pull it off.
And this we've still got second or third, show to happen. I think third because because of Dark. Though Dark will, by the time that second show happens, Dark is going to turn back into being the Dark matches, and
it'll be the Dark matches.
It'll go back to being fun again. It'll be the ones that were the openers and the big, the big babyface name, silly and closing match. I
missed watching Cody talk about in the ring.
Say again.
I missed watching Cody fucking about in the ring at the end of a Dark.
Yeah, it's great fun.
Go on, Morg, give us your Who has won you over more, cynical man or TV show critic?
I think I'm hoping it's TV show critic. Unfortunately, they've not dealt well with their women's division. As much as we keep on now and again going, oh, it's getting good. We really bitched about it at the beginning. It's still not. It's gone back to one match, one Britt Baker segment. The Britt Baker segments have got better because she's got better and she's better as a heel. But
why is this the only thing we get?
I mean, and again, I know we're in the Rona era, so maybe you can't get. You're not having all the people there that you can have.
I'd argue it went wrong in that match where Britt and Statlander got injured at the same time when they were meant to be, building two different respective feuds, basically.
Yes.
That cost them. But they had no fallback plan. That's where the main issue is. There was
but then there's an Abaddon that you've used once,
You don't want to overuse her yet, I don't think.
You don't want to overuse her, but you could have used her at least on one of the shows, But
what are you going to do? Put her up against Shida and then have her lose?
No, God, no. Just have her come out on one of the darks. Just beat up someone,
She could beat up one of the jobbers.
It's pretty. I'd put her against Ford, give her a real match. I don't think Ford would lose anything from losing a match to a tiny, terrifying, high-speed zombie thing.
Yeah.
Kip will get some comedy value out of being put off, disgusted by her.
Scared shit.
Yeah, I'd put her against Ford.
Yeah, you could have done things. You had wrestlers. You didn't have to put,
I actually wouldn't put her against Ford. I think I'd have her as Ford's partner.
Fair enough.
I think you may have just, because I think the comedy side you can get with Kip and Ford there will be amazing.
What, these two beautiful people just always being
and
friendly,
they've got
and just a zombie with them.
Yeah, and then they've got this, and I think, but then they're going to see the advantage of it because they are that kind of heel of, we're just going to let her go out first, and the other tag team are just going to shit themselves and run. And imagine the promo so they're coming out to do their pick, and they're doing the big picks, and they're doing who you've got, and Penelope Ford's there, and she's expecting someone like Nyla, or she's expecting somebody who's like really good, like they're hoping that they're going to get Shida so they can win, and then Abaddon comes out.
That would be immense. When is the actual tag show? How many weeks we got till that?
I think, are they doing a show, a one-night tournament? Because if they're doing that, then I'm worried. I would like them to run it over a couple of episodes.
I'm just wondering when we're going to get the teams actually announced.
I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye open for that, but I don't think it's been announced yet. I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
God, would you?
I'm hoping. I really do hope. I may sound cynical about all this, but I'm only going on what they've given us so far. I'm really hopeful because I really do want to see a strong female division in AEW, but I just can't get my hopes up because they've crushed them too many times.
So we can see a way how it could be do well, and we hope it's used as a vector for storytelling, but we're afraid it will just be smash the jobbers, Ali and Brandy win. Basically.
Pretty much. Yeah. I think that's a good overall, and I think that's probably a good thing. So that is our show for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to thank Anchor.fm for hosting the podcast. Remember, you can find us on Wrestle Opinionated on Anchor.fm, Spotify, and YouTube. Mr. Muir.
Thanks again for listening to us. I hope you're all well at this time. If you want to send us in anything for us to discuss, please do. We always like to get things to discuss. And that is at wrestleopinionated@gmail.com. WrestleOP on Facebook and WrestleOP1 on Twitter. And over to you, Strange.
I'm ready for the Philip DeFranco challenge this time.
He's going for it.
Hi there, if you listen to this podcast, please like us. If you've already liked us, please share us. If you do like us, and share and subscribe us, tell your friends, share that to your other friends as well. If you see a little bell, press that. I don't know what the bell does, but do press it. If you want to support us, we don't have a Patreon, we don't have a GoFundMe, we don't have any of that sort of stuff, but feel free to send us money in the post. Share with your friends, share it on the Facebook, share it on the Twitter. Click the little like button on Twitter, click the little heart button on Twitter. Give us a little 5-rank star on Spotify. I don't know what the ranking system is on Anchor, but click whatever that is too. Thank you for your time. What was that?
That was pretty
something.
good. And that all that's left to be said now is goodbye and good night.